Hey there, just a heads up, this episode of the Judo Science Podcast was created with help from AI. Some of the voices you'll hear are synthetic, but the ideas come from real research and real judo.
For those of you who face those high-stakes moments, that crucial presentation, maybe a really challenging meeting, or just any situation where the pressure is on, that feeling, right, in the pit of your stomach.
Oh, yeah. Those butterflies.
Exactly, those butterflies. They can either sharpen your focus, make you razor sharp, or, let's be honest, they can completely derail you sometimes.
It's such a fundamental human response, isn't it? That whole surge of adrenaline and, uncertainty.
Absolutely. And today, we're doing a deep dive into something maybe a bit unexpected, the ancient martial art of judo. But this isn't just about the throws and the grappling. We're exploring how judo can actually profoundly transform your mind, building crucial skills like resilience, self-control, and, the ability to really master those intense emotions.
And for this deep dive, we've pulled together a really interesting stack of sources. We've got cutting-edge scientific studies, from journals like Frontiers and PMC.
Right.
We're also looking at these forward-thinking developmental guidelines straight from the All Japan Judo Federation.
Okay.
And even direct, very relatable insights from judokas themselves, from online community discussions.
So our mission here is to unpack how judo, especially thinking about beginners, but also competitive athletes, cultivates these really crucial psychological strengths that go way beyond the mat.
And importantly, how you might be able to apply these insights to your life.
Exactly. So let's get into it. When you typically think about judo, you probably picture intense physical training, right? Sweat, conditioning.
For sure. That's the common image.
But what's really fascinating here is a study that looked at something completely different.
Precisely. Historically, most research on judo did focus on the physiological stuff, how it shapes the body. But this recent study in Frontiers, it specifically investigated the psychological impact. And get this, it was on healthy, sedentary male subjects. So guys who weren't regularly active.
Okay, so not athletes.
Not athletes at all. They took 50 of these guys, split them into two groups. One group did 6 weeks of judo training. The other, the control group, just carried on with their usual lifestyle.
And they measured them before and after.
Exactly. Before and after, they measured psychological resilience, self-control, and also emotional expression.
And the results, what kind of mental shifts, did they actually see?
The findings were quite striking, actually. The judo group, they showed a remarkably strong and statistically undeniable increase in psychological resilience.
Wow. In just 6 weeks?
In just 6 weeks. The control group, meanwhile, saw no change like that at all.
Okay.
And in terms of self-control, there was a significant improvement in what they call the initiation subdimension for the judo group.
Initiation. So, like, getting started on things.
That's exactly it. They got better at actually starting things that are good for them in the long run, even when there's that immediate temptation to, do something else, something easier.
That's powerful. It almost sounds like a direct attack on procrastination, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And what's truly remarkable about that initiation improvement is how judo, by constantly demanding you start a challenging technique or just engage with your opponent, it directly trains your brain to override that comfort zone, that inertia. And that's a skill that's critical, obviously not just on the mat, but for tackling procrastination, pursuing any long-term goal in your life.
Makes sense.
However, it's interesting. The study found only a, negligible influence on some emotional expression subdimensions. Things like impulse power or concealment at this beginner level.
So resilience and getting started, yes. But maybe controlling impulses or hiding emotions, not so much from just 6 weeks.
Yeah, that seems to be the suggestion. It implies that while resilience and initiation self-control get a strong boost early on, these other facets of emotional expression might need, more advanced or perhaps more targeted training.
Okay, so if I'm a listener sitting here thinking, look, I'm probably never going to step on a judo mat. How do these specific findings about building resilience, about initiating long-term goals, how does that translate to my everyday life or my career challenges? What's the core principle we can pull out here?
That's a really important question. If even short-term beginner-level judo training, remember this was in a non-competitive environment, If that can yield such strong psychological benefits, what does that tell us?
Yeah, what does it tell us?
It tells us something pretty profound, I think, about the power of structured physical activity, particularly maybe martial arts, in fostering mental fortitude. Resilience, remember, is about coping effectively with challenges, maintaining control, minimizing the costs of stress, both physical and mental.
Right.
And self-control, especially that initiation part, is just vital for achieving those long-term goals, by resisting short-term impulses. And that's crucial for everything from, academic success to just better overall mental health.
That's a huge takeaway, and it connects to a bigger issue we see today, doesn't it?
Indeed. We know there are rising mental health concerns, like anxiety and depression, particularly among university students. And physical activity is widely recognized as a crucial protective factor.
But getting people to actually do it is the challenge.
Exactly. Many students just don't meet the recommended activity levels. So this study kind of highlights how accessible introductory activities like judo could be a powerful, practical part of the solution, perhaps. Now, we have to be fair, acknowledge the study's limitations. It was a relatively small sample size, 50 people, only 6 weeks, focused exclusively on sedentary males from one university department. And it didn't look at long-term outcomes or gender differences.
So it's a starting point.
Definitely a compelling starting point for more research, for sure.
Those beginner benefits are really compelling, aren't they? And building on that foundation, it seems there's an even grander vision for judo, particularly coming out of Japan, its birthplace, something that goes far beyond what maybe we'd expect.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is how the All Japan Judo Federation, the AJJF, views judo. They see it as integral to, and this is their term, human resource development and even national strength.
Wow, that's a big claim for a sport.
It is. Especially considering Japan's declining and aging population, they seem to view judo as a foundational way to cultivate capable young people and enhance the overall, vitality of their society.
And central to that whole vision is something they call physical literacy. That sounds like more than just, being physically fit.
Oh, it's much more. It's a remarkably holistic concept.
Yeah.
Physical literacy, as they define it, encompasses 4 key elements.
Okay.
You've got physical abilities, fitness, skills, moving efficiently. Then psychological abilities, things like attitudes, emotions, confidence, motivation.
Right.
Then social abilities, interaction, sensitivity towards others. And finally, cognitive abilities, knowledge, understanding.
So it's body, mind, social skills, and knowledge all wrapped up.
Exactly. And their argument is that judo's dynamic discipline, which requires complex coordination, balance, and that direct interaction with others, is uniquely suited to cultivating all of these elements at the same time.
So it's not just learning how to throw someone, it's really learning how to be. And the insight here, it seems, is that the AJJF isn't just trying to create champions. They're consciously using a physical discipline to build well-rounded human beings. That's a powerful model for any kind of education, really, not just sports.
It really is.
But even with such a grand vision, I imagine there must have been some challenges, some traditional hurdles they've had to address in judo development over there.
Oh, absolutely. They've actually noted a continuous decline in the judo population in Japan since its peak, which was right after the 1964 Tokyo Olympics.
Huh. Why the decline?
Well, they point to several issues. One significant one they highlight is what they call the win-at-all-costs mentality.
Okay. I can see that being a problem, especially with kids.
Exactly. They talk about overly competitive junior tournaments that prioritize winning over genuine long-term development. And this leads to problems like excessive training loads, both acute and chronic injuries, and even burnout among really young athletes.
Yeah, I can certainly see how that kind of pressure could quickly just suck the joy out of it, turn it into a grind.
Precisely. Another problem they identified is a disregard for individual differences. They found that adult training programs were often just applied wholesale to developing juniors without really considering their unique growth stages or sex differences.
Like treating kids as mini adults.
Pretty much. And this has risks. For instance, they point out that female athletes face a high risk of developing something called the female athlete triad.
Right, I've heard of that. It's serious.
It's very serious and often overlooked. It involves insufficient energy intake, menstrual irregularities, weakened bones. It can have real long-term health consequences. And then there's something called the relative age effect. It's basically how kids born earlier in the selection year, say January or February, often have a physical size advantage in junior sports compared to kids born later in the year.
Because they're slightly older and bigger at that stage.
Exactly. And this can potentially just crush the self-efficacy, the confidence of those late developing kids. and might even lead them to drop out early.
Okay, so those are some significant challenges. How are they tackling them? What's the solution?
Well, the AJJF has introduced these really comprehensive long-term development guidelines, and they're built around 6 stages of long-term development. The whole aim is to provide an appropriate environment for both mind and body development throughout life, not just focused on elite competition.
6 stages starting from?
Starting right from the beginning. Stage 1 is from 0 to 5 years old, and the focus there is purely on discovering joy and pleasure in movement, just building that intrinsic love for it from the get-go.
That's a wonderful starting point, isn't it? Forget competition, just find the fun. What about as they get a bit older?
Stage 2, which is for ages 6 to 11, builds on that foundation. The aim there is equal opportunities in competition, fostering positive adaptation to stress, learning etiquette, cooperation, all while deliberately avoiding excessive competition.
So still keeping the pressure low.
Relatively low, yes. Then stage 3, from 12 to 14 years, that's when formal training really commences. They introduce sports science concepts, but the focus remains on skill and moral development over immediate results. They even encourage cross-sport training.
Interesting. Keep it broad. And for those really formative high school years?
That's stage 4, ages 15 to 17. Here, students can start choosing paths, maybe high-performance track, or perhaps continuing just for health and fun. It involves more long-term planning, managing injury risk as specialization increases, and a real focus on deep moral cultivation, mental, cognitive, emotional aspect.
And beyond high school?
Stage 5 covers roughly 18 to 24 years. The emphasis here is on appreciating the joy and health benefits of judo, accessing elite coaching if desired, encouraging dual career development, so not just judo, and even highlighting how judo can be used as a coping strategy for life's general challenges.
So it really becomes a life tool at that point. And how does that extend sort of indefinitely, lifelong?
That's stage 6, designed for lifelong engagement. The focus shifts towards contributing back to society, promoting intercultural harmony through judo's etiquette, and applying the knowledge and principles learned in judo to life and work, well beyond the mat itself.
It's really clear these guidelines aren't just about judo, are they? I mean, how do these principles fostering intrinsic motivation, considering individual development paths, valuing holistic growth, how does that apply to learning or mastering anything, or even just parenting or coaching in general?
I think they offer a really powerful transferable framework, don't they? Instead of pushing only for immediate, narrow outcomes, they advocate for this broad, long-term approach, one that prioritizes individual well-being, sustained engagement, and developing versatile skills that are applicable far beyond just one specific domain.
Yeah.
It's really about nurturing the whole person, making sure that learning stays enjoyable and sustainable over the long haul.
So let's leave our listeners with this. Consider the principles we've uncovered today. The importance of focusing on task-oriented goal, growth, not just ego-driven wins. The power of reframing nervousness, seeing it as excitement, as readiness. The value of precise but also empathetic communication. And the necessity of looking inward, understanding your own emotional responses. How can you apply these judo-inspired disciplines, mastering your inner state, adapting to challenges, pursuing growth, not just victory? How can you apply those to navigate your own daily struggles and achieve your personal best, even if you never ever step foot on a judo mat?
Next time on the Judo Science Podcast, episode 16, Beyond 4 Minutes, Understanding Contest Time and Golden Score in Olympic Judo.